Please note that this podcast contains information regarding sensitive events, including domestic violence, assault, and abuse, as well as other triggering events, such as murder. This podcast is intended for mature audiences. When Alice jumped down the rabbit hole, she immediately regretted her decision. A rabbit hole is a metaphor for something that transports someone into a troubling, surreal state or situation. Welcome to Afterglow, the unveiling of the Idaho cult. This podcast will take you down the deepest of rabbit holes as it unfolds. The story is so compelling, so bizarre, and so heinous, it's impossible to look the other way. Chad Daybell and Lori Vallow were dedicated in the most horrible way to an ideology that should only be fiction. Instead, their ideology put them behind bars. Join us as we explore the lives, lies, and diabolical crimes of Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell. I'm your host, Kathy Brooks. Please follow and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Hi, everyone, and welcome back. This is episode 10, season 1 of Afterglow. This episode is Zulema. We've talked a little bit about Zulema. We've mentioned her. Zulema does play a key role in this entire case. So before we move on and get to the missing children and the other craziness that happens, the other spouse, all that stuff, I'm staying focused a little bit still on leading up to Charles's murder and Charles's murder, because it sets the tone for all the mistakes, all the things that happened. And really, if someone would have listened to Charles, if someone would have spoke up, if somebody would have got their butt out of this whole idea of this being in this cult and these crazy things, these crazy castings and 144,000 and zombies, if one person would have really come forward and stood there besides Charles and said, yes, this is crazy. They believe this. This is dangerous. Maybe we wouldn't have 2 missing children. Maybe we wouldn't have more murders. Maybe we would still have Tylee and JJ here. Maybe we would still have Tammy Daybell here. But before we get to the Daybells, Tammy, and the missing children, I want to talk about these text messages. Zulema was part of this group of women casting out in their circle, all this weird, nutty stuff, right? So Zulema is one of them. Zulema plays a key role, we know for a fact, because Zulema has been granted use immunity. And when everything comes to court in January of 2023, I think we'll find out a lot more. I would love to be caught up in this case by the time they go to trial, so that we can follow it in real time at that point. That's my goal. So what is use immunity? Use immunity is a type of immunity guaranteeing that the testimony of a witness will not be used as evidence against him or her in court, although he or she can still be prosecuted on evidence of others. Zulema, we know, knows something huge. She's going to give her testimony at the trial in court to save her own butt. She's going to tell what she knows. And as we explored this case, and as I've been following this case, more and more stuff has come out and come out and come out. Well, Zulema has a lot of text messages. I mean, a lot. And they are, what's my favorite word? Wackadoodle. They're wackadoodle. So today I want to go over some of Zulema's text messages that led up to Charles's murder. So if you are new here and you have not listened to episodes 1 through 9, it would probably be a good idea to stop now and go back and start binging those right away. For those of you that don't know me or are new here or sort of know me or know by now, I'm a novice. I do not have a big label behind my name. I am just me. I'm a one-woman show here. I started following this case. I started a YouTube channel, and this happened to be the case that I started following first. It got very involved. So I know this case pretty well, to the point where I've gotten a lot of information and just followed it in real time. So if you are so inclined, there are some links in the show notes to help support my channel. This is my second job, but it doesn't pay. So if you're feeling it in your heart to help me keep this show afloat, to help me finance it, it costs me a little bit of money to keep it online and all that stuff, I would really appreciate it. But otherwise, just keep listening and just like it and share. That's good enough for me if you can't do anything else. Believe me. Go to my YouTube channel, watch some of those videos, and give me the thumbs up, ring the bell, subscribe. It's Left Undone, Incomplete Investigations. And again, my name's Catherine, and here we go. Let's get into these text messages of Zulema Pastenes. So before we get into July, I'm going to backtrack a little bit about Zulema. Like I said, Zulema is part of this circle of women, and Zulema has use immunity. So let's go into a little bit about back in 2019 when Charles was actually looking for help for Lori. What kind of text messages were going on between Lori and Zulema at that point? February 5th, 2019 at 11:39 a.m. from Zulema to Lori. Here comes the wind. I casted him from my third eye. I created shields around my third eye, my body, and my property. He won't be coming around anymore. Same day, February 5th, 2019, Lori to Zulema, 11:47 a.m. That's good, but sad too, I know. We will really have to stick together since we can't have friends anymore. Zulema replies, right? I feel like my inner circle is getting smaller, but I'm okay with that too. Next day, February 6, 2019, 9:27 a.m., Chad said that Jerry can even block my gifts just by me texting him. Can you believe it? Clearly, Chad was trying to get all men away from all these women, and they fell for it. I mean, obviously, Jerry and Zulema had a thing, and then Chad's getting himself in the middle of it, trying to make sure that Zulema knows, like, oh, that Jerry, he's blocking your gifts. I'm lucky you're not married to him like all the other Arizona girls are got going on. February 6, 2019, Lori replies to Zulema at 4:06 p.m. Yes, because I'm dealing with the same thing all the time. Talking about Charles. Zulema replies, yes, and you're married to him, which is worse. We will conquer. Extreme team. Da 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 da. Sorry, but they sound like they're playing a video game for real. Lori replies, thanks, Zulema. I needed that. Zulema replies to Lori, love you, sister. Lori to Zulema, love you too. Same day, February 6, 2019, Zulema to Lori. What was it that you said in your letter to the first presidency when you requested a temple cancellation? Lori replies, I told them that I could tell them the whole sad story, but I know they have the power of discernment to know what needed to be decided. Next morning, February 8th, from Zulema to Lori, 8:01 a.m. Thank you. I have to write another letter explaining my prior divorces. I just got to the temple. I'll be here until about 10. I hope to see you if you can come. 10 minutes later at 8:15, Zulema to Lori, I just got to the temple. I'll be here till 10 a.m. If you're able to come, look for me in the celestial room.
We'll be right back.
Sorry to interrupt, but wanted to quickly introduce myself. I'm Gabriella Tavakoli-Bailey, and I work in reality TV as an executive producer and television executive. My latest project is my podcast called Tell Us Something We Don't Know, where we interview fascinating people living extraordinary lives. In this week's episode, we talk to Gigi from Shaws of Sunset, who gives us exclusive access into her life and behind-the-scenes secrets. Find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Come join us and have some fun.
February 13th, 2019, 10:05 a.m., Zulema to Lori. Hey, beautiful. I just had an energy session with my friend Stacy. She was able to take the metal cage that was put around me to block me from visions. She cut the cords and destroyed all the records he was keeping of me. I am sharing this with you because she may be able to help you too. Ooh, helping get rid of that Jerry dude, right? Now she can help with Charles for Lori. So nice. What a nice friend. And Zulema reassures her by saying, I will create a storm and bring protection to you. These people think they are this powerful. My mind is boggled, you guys. I mean, seriously, this is just unfreaking believable how they believe this reality, or how they believe this is reality. February 19th, 2019, 10:19 p.m., Zulema sends a YouTube video clip to Lori that we can't access, so we don't know what it says. But she texts underneath it, me trying to work with the elements, LOL. Again, remember the margarine commercial, you can't fool Mother Nature? That's what I picture in my head here. Same day, 10:54 p.m., Lori texts Zulema, I saw a scripture today on Abraham that talks about commanding the elements, them waiting for them to respond. Elements might respond in the winter if you make this request in the summer. Imagine that, like ask for a winter storm. And there it is, months and months later. How weird is that? Zulema did it though. She's very powerful. March 2nd, 2019, Zulema to Lori. I have a question for you. If our bodies start changing and I'm menopausal, does that mean that my body will get out of menopause and go back to a normal cycle? March 2nd, 2019, 8:43 a.m. Lori to Zulema. That's an interesting question because I was starting to slow down in that regard, but now they're like 20-year-old periods now. I don't have a great answer for that. I'm doing research, but there's not a lot to go on right now. Good question for mother. Who's mother? 1 minute later, Lori replies again. Serena and I are both going backward in that regard, like exactly the same. Does anyone feel like they're sitting in the middle of middle school girls talking about their periods and that they got one or they didn't get one or no one knew that or how do you put a tampon in or what? I mean, are you there, God? It's me, Margaret. Do y'all remember that? Some of you are too young, but seriously, this is what it seems like. Zulema replies, oh, yes, I'll ask her. I stopped having periods last year. I was already done. Now I'm back to having regular periods. Regular, bright, heavy, and with cramps, like way before I went through menopause. Lori's turn. Yes, that's me. It started yesterday and it's crazy. Cramps, pain, and heavy and bright. They're getting worse, not better. I wonder what that's about. It's about you've lost your marbles. And yeah, I just don't even know what to say about this conversation right here. I just don't. Then Lori again. This is crazy. Our bodies are really changing. Then Zulema replies, it reminded me of when I was a teenager kind of period. Yes, they are. What's the rate at which we change? Lori texts back, 4 days younger every day. Zulema, wow. Then Lori replies, I know, right? Wow. Zulema then says, when did you start? Yesterday? I'm assuming she's talking about her period. And Lori says, yes. Oh my God. It's like, never mind. I don't even know what to say. I don't even have anything to say about this conversation. I don't. Zulema then asks Lori, you? Lori replies, after we joined hands at the temple. Then Lori also says, me too. Lori again, it's horribly crampy and heavy. Ugh. Zulema replies, what? Oh my, me too. Same here. Lori then texts, a similitude of the only begotten at the temple. More Lori. It reminds us that we belong to Jesus. Then she asks Zulema, when did you have the first one after the year of none? And Zulema replies, yesterday was my first one. Zulema replies to Lori, no, you are so powerful, a powerful goddess that can do this and so much more. I felt the power from your hand. It pulsated energy into mine. Lori responds, we are becoming one. We have important things to do, and the time is now to get started. We will succeed. You are amazing. Now, mind you, this conversation, this text message has been going on for over an hour between them. And it is, okay, I'll keep going. Zulema then says, namaste. The goddess in me recognizes the goddess in you. I love you so much, and I am grateful that Heavenly Father brought us together. Lori to Zulema, me too. You are a powerful goddess, and you lift me. We have worked together for eons, and I'm so grateful for you. 3 days later, March 5th, 2019, texting resumes. Zulema to Lori at 1:49 p.m. I had a super weird and dark dream last night. I was laying down like on a beach with my body barely underwater. I had tentacles going all over my body. I could see the tentacles. They were black. Then it appeared that the tentacles had passed, except for some that were left on the back of my thighs. I kept feeling them so much that it woke me up. I woke up casting out. I'm not sure what that was, but it was definitely dark. What do you think? Lori replies at 1:56 p.m. Sounds dark, like they are trying to attach darkness to you. But you are too powerful. You will be triumphant. I know it. Be strong, my sister. So Zulema decides this is more of a question for Chad. So she texts Chad the same day, March 5th, 2019. And she says, I had a super weird and dark dream last night. I was laying like on a beach with my body barely underwater. I had tentacles going all over my back. I could see the tentacles. They were black. Then it appeared that the tentacles had passed, except for some that were left on the back of my thighs. I kept feeling them so much that it woke me up. I woke up casting out, not sure what that was, but it was definitely dark. Could you see if they attached darkness or a weapon to me, Chad? Same day at 6:03 p.m., Chad replies, I've removed some dark creatures that were still attached to your aura. They were like leeches trying to suck out your light energy. The next morning at 8:10 a.m., Zulema replies to Chad, I could feel them. Thank you for helping me. I feel so blessed and grateful to know you. Lord Zulema. After that, she decided to report this back to Lori, March 6, 2019 at 8:13 a.m., which I'm surprised didn't piss Lori off because remember, she was starting to get annoyed with those other girls and kick them out because they were texting Chad too much. Can you imagine all these texts coming at Chad like this? They had to put some dark creatures that were still attached to your aura. They were like leeches trying to suck out my light energy. Chad had to remove them from me. I could feel them yesterday. My energy was low. I had body pains and I felt disconnected. Then Lori replies at 9:01 a.m. I'm so glad they are gone. I know what that's like. Are you better today? The same day, a few minutes later, Zulema replies to Lori, yes, much better. I feel like myself again. 10 minutes later, Zulema continues to Lori, isn't it interesting that I felt tentacles and they were leeches? There's learning here. We have to start recognizing the attacks, the symbols, and what they mean. Lori texts back, we are getting stronger and the veil thinner so we can fight. These women believed they were becoming younger, 4 days younger every day, that they were being reversed, that they began getting periods again, even if they've already stopped. Zulema said she has stopped her periods for over a year, which, by the way, coming from a OB nurse, if you ever have no periods in your, menopausal, you don't have a period for over a year and then you bleed again, you need to go to the doctor. At that point, the very first thing they want to rule out is uterine cancer. So Zulema acts like this is part of being translated. In the meantime, her body may be needing a little help, like a hysterectomy. I don't know. But anyway, that's just my FYI, because she talks about that in this set of stuff. Before I go on, I do want to say, sometimes people put comments as if they're on a message board and they're not. This is review. You need to review and put your stars. Someone had posted and gave me 1 star because they said we sounded like chipmunks. But I don't know if people understand that on the podcast, you can make the speed of the voices go 1, 1.5, 2, 3 times. It's a setting. And sometimes you accidentally hit that setting and people's voices sound like, and I guarantee you that the person that wrote that comment and gave me 1 star, which messed up my ratings a little bit, had their setting messed up. So it really was user error and not me. That sounded like a chipmunk. So that being said, a lot of the negative people tend to leave a review, and a lot of the positive people just move on. So yes, I am begging. I'm not begging, but if you do appreciate my podcast, remember I'm a one-woman show and I really need you to help me get this. Share this, like this, whatever. If you don't like it, don't listen. But if you do, I'm very grateful to anyone that can rate it and review. Thank you so much. We will go on to these text messages now. February 14th, Zulema to Chad Daybell at 10:06 a.m. Hi, Chad. I had an energy session yesterday. I found out that Jerry had placed a metal cage over and around my shield. Also had placed it under my feet so I couldn't connect to Mother Earth. He had been keeping records of me. The Lord wanted me to know time is at an end to share with all the people what I do. Also, that I need to inquire and find a seer stone, which is interesting because I was just researching that last week. This is all so amazing. I can't wait to talk to you in person. So February 17th, Zulema sends a message to Chad, and this is a Sunday, FYI. Made it with time to spare. Thank you. I hope to see you again soon. What an amazing weekend this was. So I was thinking, is Zulema catching a flight? And I did go live with this the other night on my channel, and I was trying to figure out where they all were. It seemed they were in Hawaii because we knew Lori was in Hawaii, but it looks like one of my subscribers pointed out that there was actually a Preparing a People conference in Boise on that day. So it appears that Chad and Zulema were in Boise at the Preparing a People concert, and Lori was in Hawaii. February 20th, Zulema to Chad. Hi, Chad. I hope you had a safe trip back home. It's been absolutely amazing since I came back. I have a new sense of confidence and faith stronger than I have ever felt before. I just have this knowing I didn't have before. I have a dear friend that helps me when I'm under attack or when cages are put on me. LOL. Her name is Stacy. I've seen her standing on top of a mountain with hundreds of people coming to her for healing. I feel she may be part of us. Her veil is very thin and she's very powerful. Could you see who she is? Thank you for all your time this last weekend. I'm grateful for the blessing you gave me. So humbled by that experience. I just felt different as soon as I stood up. It was beautiful. So they were at the Preparing a People conference. Chad gave Zulema a blessing, and that's where they all were, and not Hawaii, like I assumed, but it does make perfect sense now. Chad replies to Zulema on February 21st, 2019. Thank you, Zulema. I always feel happy when I'm around you. That was a wonderful weekend. I'm glad you made it on the plane. February 20th, Lori to Zulema. I did it last night. So here's Lori in Hawaii. Texting Zulema, 1:37 p.m. So yesterday it rained hard all day, but I didn't care because I flew over to Oahu and spent the day at the temple. So last night I commanded the clouds and rain to cease for the whole day today, and it has been sunny and beautiful all day. But the forecast called for rain all week. That scripture made me more patient. She then texts again. The clue for me is giving them the time to obey. They can do it immediately. but I need to learn the process, if that makes sense. So Lori, okay, first of all, the weather in Kauai, it does rain every day, and it probably still did, but then it clears up and then it rains again. And she's on the North Shore, which is the wet side of the island, because that's where she likes to stay. So she's full of bologna and cheese and crackers because she's not commanding the elements. I mean, she literally believes she was. That's just so bizarre to me. So remember when they were saying that Lori disappeared for a month? I think it was like 30, 40, whatever days. This is where she was. This is when she disappeared. It was February. Charles was all freaked out in January, trying to get her help, everything. Lori, obviously, after she got evaluated, decided that she was going to peace out and go take her little butt to Hawaii. This is when I believe she left Tylee with her brother, Alex. And remember, Tylee said when she stayed with her uncle Alex, that's when she got the bat. And she left JJ with Charles. And Charles took JJ back to Houston. And then eventually, Lori decided to come back and went to Houston. And then obviously caused an uproar and wanted to go back to Arizona. So that's when they got the place in Arizona after that. So they talk about Lori gone MIA for a period of about a month. And this is that period of time she was in Hawaii. February 20th, 2:37 p.m., Zulema replies to Lori. That makes perfect sense to me. I've been experiencing the delay and learning that the elements just need the time. You just confirmed it. I brought the massive storm that's hitting us right now. I didn't think I could, which tells me I'm getting better at it. After this last weekend, I feel stronger, more confident. That's amazing what you're doing. How long before you stop a storm? So again, probably referring to the people preparing a people conference that she went to the previous weekend, but Lori's busy stopping storms in Hawaii, or causing storms or stopping storms. Yeah. Lori replied, no, I think it needs a few hours. So what does she mean? Like, oh, can you stop the storm right away? No, I think we need to let the rain come down for a little bit, because that's how it works. It doesn't just stop immediately as soon as it starts. Well, sometimes it does. Depends where you are. But Lori, see, she plays into this like she has to believe it, but then she also has to believe it in the way that it would make sense, or she has to put it out there in the way it would make sense that a storm comes and you can't just stop it right away because that's not how storms really work. So she has to fit the mold of what a real storm does to make herself believe that she is actually this powerful person. Then Zulema, back to Lori. That makes sense. Wow, you're doing great and amazing things. Your gifts are getting stronger. Even in the midst of opposition, you rise. You're an amazing goddess. Amazing, amazing goddess. Like those two just need to, I don't know what they need to do, because skip off into the sunset together, these two amazing goddesses. And of course, you have to return the "You're amazing goddess," Lori, to Zulema. So are you. These people think they're magic. I mean, I just don't understand it. I'm not sure if this is related at all, the things that they do when they go to the temple, the things they talk about. But we do know for a fact that Chad, Lori, and Zulema have some really out there beliefs that were extremely dangerous and caused people to be dead. And that cannot possibly be part of any good, faithful believers. I have a hard time understanding what went on with them, where the division took place, where they decided that they were still able to go to the LDS temple, and yet they are doing things that are outside of the belief system. I mean, clearly they had to be doing a lot of stuff outside of the belief system because from what we know is Chad has been excommunicated, and Julie Rowe as well. These came from Zulema Pastenes. She's a witness. She has use immunity. So let's get on and check out the text messages some more. This appears to be a message from Zulema to Chad. Is it possible someone can bring a cursed item or an item with dark purposes to your house? I had this prompting at the temple today that there was a dark item in my house. I came home and there was a long woven wheat-looking thing on my couch. I tried burning it and it wouldn't burn. It was so weird. February 27th, Zulema sends a message to Chad at 4:50 p.m. Today, I had the most sacred and amazing experience at the temple. I saw and felt huge angels and powerful beings from the moment I arrived. I had a visit from the Savior today. I heard his voice. He anointed my body, my mind, my eyes, my bosom, my hands, and feet. He told me why he was giving me that day. My mission. For a moment, I almost doubted what I had heard. Then I remembered your blessing. I'm not doubting anymore. I know what I saw and what he said. I was also taught the discerning of spirits gift I've had and didn't know how to use. I thought everyone saw what I saw. LOL. I have to laugh sometimes at myself. Things are going so fast. I feel like we're on super speed. Chad to Zulema. I'm so happy at how quickly you are progressing and fulfilling your role in the Lord's kingdom. Lori told me that the weed item was from Sean. That's funny. He should have left some sort of explanation. I know the Savior is very grateful for you, and you are a very powerful spiritual warrior. I'm glad we're on the same team. Sean Little Bear. And they were all at that conference preparing a people. And I believe he was there as well on that. Let's pull up the flyer. So it doesn't say Sean Little Bear's name on here, but they always seem to all be together. And it was a one-day conference, and Chad did speak there. March of 2019, we are moving on to March. On the 8th at 8:05 p.m., Lori or Zulema to Melanie Gibb. I'm assuming Zulema. My understanding is that according to our own missions, different people will do different things. Some will stay and help. Some will go to the next round. Some will come back during the millennium. Again, the next round, video game, Dungeons and Dragons. What is happening here? So assuming this is Melanie Gibb replying to Zulema, that makes sense. The remnant will go to the next round. Remnant. The definition of remnant in Christian theology is a small minority of people who will remain faithful to God and so be saved. An allusion to biblical prophecies concerning Israel. So Zulema replies to Melanie Gibb, yep, that is so cool, right? Because basically the multiple creations are done when the Savior comes again. Yay! Then you will go off with your eternal companion, David, and create your own world. Then we will all come back to help fight at the end of the millennium. So, after Melanie Gibb had her interview that we had on the last episode, she is with David. And so David was all part of their plan. I've been told from people that know Melanie Gibb that David was the one that got Melanie Gibb to see how insane this whole thing was. But it's pretty clear to me that David may not have these we're going to murder people beliefs, but he does have some fringe LDS beliefs, in my opinion. March 10th, 4:39 p.m., a Zulema to Lori. Satan is really hitting us today. We're supposed to go get Kara's patriarchal blessing today. She fell, and we're at urgent care getting x-rays of her ankle. I feel extremely tired and practically falling asleep as I sit here waiting. I can feel the darkness around us. Send me more power, please. I need reinforcement. Calling in the Lori reinforcements. Oh, Zulema. Oh, Zulema. On the 10th, Lori replies at 5:01 p.m. Sending it now. That's awful. And I know exactly how that feels. Ugh. Lori sending in those reinforcements. Zulema replies, thank you. Lori then replies at 5:05 p.m. What time is the blessing? Zulema replies, in 1 hour at 6 p.m. Lori responds immediately, I'll work on stretching time for you. Zulema, oh yes, we need that right now. So now Lori can stretch time. I mean, this is just amazing. Weather, storms, stretching times. But Lori has to throw in a little disclaimer just in case it doesn't work with this whole stretching time business. She says, Lori says to Zulema, if you make it, it will be his will. If not, I get the impression that you may need to go to the patriarch after you move. Don't know why that's coming to me. Just a thought that keeps coming. Zulema responds to Lori, interesting, we shall see. I wonder if I have to see him for me or for her. Lori to Zulema, do you have your patriarchal blessing? Zulema back to Lori, yes, I got it when I was 18. Lori back to Zulema, it will be interesting to see what Kara said since she is so advanced. According to the Church of Jesus Christ.org, the definition of the patriarchal blessing. A patriarchal blessing has two main purposes. First, the patriarch will be inspired to declare your lineage, the tribe of Israel, to which you belong. Second, guided by the spirit of prophecy, the patriarch will pronounce blessings and may also provide promises, cautions, or admonitions that apply specifically to you. Your patriarchal blessing may point out certain things you are capable of achieving and blessings you can receive if you exercise faith and live righteously. It goes on to say the patriarch will place his hands on your head and give the blessing through inspiration. It will be revealed direction for you. The blessing will then be transcribed so that you can have a written copy to study throughout your life. The church will also keep a copy of your blessing in case you ever lose yours. On the 26th of March at 5:34 p.m., Zulema to Chad. Thank you, Chad. I appreciate you so much. Yes, it was an eventful weekend. I think we surprised ourselves of what we could do together. I definitely was shocked I could do things I didn't know I could do. I'm so humbled by the experience and the power we felt coming together. Could you see if my ex-husband, my son's dad, is dark? His name is blank. My son is really struggling with depression and anxiety, and I'm thinking he's causing a lot of it. Also, I'm thinking he is the other person I was warned about. Chad replies to Zulema, yes, Joe is a 4.1 dark, and yes, he is causing some of your son's trouble and is the other person you were warned about. She makes it so easy for him to put on his guru hat. Zulema replies to Chad, I was afraid of that. This confirms what I've been feeling. I've been wanting for my son to come live with me so he can heal. Thank you, Chad. Chad to Zulema, you are very welcome. You are very welcome. You are very welcome. Then on the 28th, she replies to Chad, my son is living with me now. It was a miracle how it all worked out. We have started the healing process. I'm so grateful for you so that I could move forward and get my son home safe. Thank you, Chad. Chad replies, I'm so happy to hear that, as he puts on his cape. These text messages are really hard to keep in an actual order, so I'm sort of combining them by a period of time, like winter of 2019 until after Charles is shot in July of 2019. So these are all kind of combined to that period of time. But some of them may feel a little out of order because the way that they are on the FOIA docs is really confusing. Like there's Chad and Zulema messages and Lori and Zulema messages and then some Melanie Gibb. So just kind of focus. You may have to listen to this more than once. I did just to try to get it straight. But if you really, really think about it, they're just all in this really crazy belief system and think they have all these powers, elements, like Zulema can cause earthquakes and Lori can cause storms and they can get zombies out of people's bodies because they've been demonized by I sound like the most confused podcaster on the planet. And don't leave those comments that I'm confused or disorganized or whatever, because I'm not. These people's story is literally so hard to follow. So hard to follow. So I've tried to organize it the best I possibly can. And these text messages, like I said, they're not in a book. They're from the FOIA docs dump. So hang in there. Just focus on who's talking to who and what they're saying and what period of time it's at. I think that's the best way to go about this. March 3rd, 2019, 9:07 p.m. Zulema sends this text to Chad Daybell. I'm feeling blessed and humbled by what's happened in the last 2 weeks. things seem to be going so fast. Keith asked me to help with Julie's energy conference in May and attend it for free. I didn't get a good feeling about it. What do you think? So she's referring to Julie Rowe. Okay. The next morning, Chad answers Zulema at 8:30 a.m., March 4th, 2019. Chad says, I wouldn't go. I don't think any of our group is planning on going. Something isn't quite right with Julie right now. I would avoid talking to Keith too. He is her spy. Julie is very curious about my involvement with the Arizona girls, but I haven't told her anything about you, Melanie, or Lori. She feels she has the right to control anyone she associates with. But you, women, have separate missions from hers. Anyway, hopefully by May, you'll be doing much more amazing missions than helping at Julie's event. 1 minute later, Zulema replies, I thought so. I felt it as soon as I received the text. Thank you for confirming that for me. 1 minute later, Chad replies, very good. You're awesome. Then in June, there's some more texts. June 6, 2019 at 8:22 p.m., Zulema sends Chad a message. Is someone attacking me right now? I feel like I have a hatchet in the middle of my chest. At 8:25 on June 6th, same day, Chad replies, I'll work on you. I got attacked earlier and the 18 got out today. Then at 8:27, Zulema says, oh my, I am in pain. Chad replies at 8:28, trying to take it out, heal the wound, fortified your cloak, give you a new shield, and cast all out within a mile. I had to get a little dramatic there, sorry. At 9:12, so roughly 45 minutes later, Zulema says, feeling much better, thank you. Zulema then sends a second text, I couldn't get all the weapons out. The next day at 4:34 a.m., very early, Chad sends Zulema back a text and says, it was Lucifer himself, I am told, but he is now banished from Arizona. So sorry. So Lucifer got the boot from the state of Arizona. So anybody isn't a Lucifer fan, you might as well just go ahead and move to Arizona now. My goodness gracious. That same day, June 7th at 7:41 a.m., Zulema texts Chad again and says, oh my goodness, no wonder I was hurting so bad. I woke up with a really bad headache. It hurts to move. I wonder if he put weapons in my head. That darn Lucifer. Okay, I won't get too sarcastic, but this is hard to read and keep a straight face, just to let you know. Moving on to August 7th, 2019. Now, this would have been after Charles was shot and killed. At 9:45 p.m. on 8/7/2019, Zulema sends a message to Chad and says, were you trying to tell me the other day that Alex is going to be my husband to finish my mission here? Then she texts immediately again. She said, I'm a little slow at times and I don't get hints. Chad replies immediately, yes, did you get that answer? ? Then he says, it's what we saw in the future. You see what they're doing here? We talked about this. They are making couples. Lori and Chad, Melanie and David, Melanie Boudreau leaving her husband Brandon, winding up with a guy named Ian. Again, future information that I will get to. Now Zulema and Lori's brother Alex. They're making couples that they are crowning or pronouncing or designating to be part of the 144,000. I don't know why they couldn't take their regular old husbands, but they couldn't. And again, I'm trying to make sense out of something that's just complete nonsense, really, truly. Then Zulema sends a message at 9:48. Says, I had an impression when I met him for the first time, but I dismissed it quickly because I really didn't want to have a man again in this life. Then she says, I'll ask in the temple tomorrow. Chad says at 10:01 p.m. He says, like 10 minutes later, he says, okay, that's good. Always ask the Lord. He's the only one who knows what he has in store. It's hard to get through these, you guys. It's so ridiculous and so insane when we know the outcome that people are dead because of these wackadoodles. Then at 8:07 the same day, at 10:15 p.m., it's about 14 minutes later, Zulema replies, you always encourage me to do that. I love that about you. About 30 minutes later, Chad replies to Zulema and says, what time are you going to the temple tomorrow? She replies 10 minutes later at 10:53 p.m. She says, early, 7 a.m. At 2:11 p.m. the next day, August 8th, she says, does he know? I'm assuming she's talking about, does Alex know that her and Alex are supposed to be married to finish their mission in this life? Chad replies immediately, yes, he knows. He knew before we told him what we saw. Zulema replies about 10 minutes later, interesting. An hour later, she sends another message. So obviously she had to ponder this stuff, go in her portal, I don't know, figure out what's going on. And she says, he knew? The one that can't see anything? Think veil and all? I didn't, and I'm the one that can see things. So Zulema's a little confused how Alex could have possibly saw it because he obviously doesn't have this gift that she has, that Chad has. Poor Zulema, she's rather confused. So Chad needs to straighten this out. Then she sends another message 2 minutes later. She said, so in the past 2 days, I have had guys come to me at Starbucks while I'm working. That hasn't happened to me in like ... I don't know how long. ROFL. Zulema's like, oh, wow, guys are coming and hitting on me. Honey, you work at Starbucks. Guys are coming up to order coffee. That's so weird. And I didn't know she worked at Starbucks, did you? About 4 minutes later at 3:23 p.m., Chad writes back, funny, when it rains, it pours, 3 exclamation marks. A little element humor for you. Ha ha ha. Remember, because apparently Zulema is in charge of the elements like earthquakes and crap. Again, so stinking ridiculous that any normal person would fall for any of this crap. Obviously, they're not normal. So I'll take that part back. Zulema replies, LOL. And then she sends another message about 45 minutes later, 50 minutes later, and she says, Chad, can you check this person for me, please? Kelly. And then the name is redacted. Now, I don't have the date and time for this one, but this is also more of Zulema reaching out to her guru, Chatty Daddy. And she said, on my way to the temple this morning, I saw Melanie's mother-in-law. I think she meant mother-in-law, but on my way to the temple this morning, I saw Melanie's mother-in-law. She smiled and nodded at me, and I believed she put fiery darts on me. I'm struggling with doubt. I got a flat tire, a nail in my tire, and now I have to replace my tire. Usually how it works. Now I have a bad headache, body pains, and a sharp pain on my back on the right shoulder blade. I've been casting out, but I still feel the attack. Could you please help me cast out and do some healing on me? I feel horrible. Chad replies, don't know how long it takes him to do this. I don't have the right timestamps. I cast out the demons that were afflicting you and removed the weapons, negative cords, and curses. I also healed the damage they caused. I am sorry you are being attacked. Then he says, don't doubt yourself. The attack was coordinated by Lucifer himself. You are a valiant warrior. that he wants to discourage. Clearly, these are probably out of order because remember, Lucifer is banished on the previous text from Arizona, but you get the point. This has been going on for a long time between these Please Help Me Chad guru and Zulema. There's some more text about a guy named Jerry. Zulema, I don't have the date again, texts Chad and says, "Hi, Chad. I've been blocked from visions for about 2 weeks. Do you see what's blocking me? Is it my friend Jerry? Is he dark? He's the only person near me except my kids, Lori and Melanie." Chad replies, "Yes, Jerry is blocking you. Sadly, he is a 4.2 dark." Zulema replies, "Oh my, I was afraid of that." And Chad replies, "Lucifer is seeking to get the darks infiltrated into our lives. Sorry about Jerry, but yes, he is blocking your spiritual communication." She says, "Can I block him back? Shield myself? Cast his darkness out from me?" Then she says, "Do they even know they're dark? Are they consciously trying to stop our missions?" Chad says, "You can block him, but when you are around him, he will block your gifts. He might not be fully aware his is meant to stop your mission, but he will certainly oppose you as he learns more about you, like Charles and Brandon do. At least you're not married to him." There you go. That's what I'm talking about. Like Charles and Brandon do. At least you're not married to him. This is all part of their plan. It just blows my mind how moldable, I guess, some of our brains are, how trusting of people, how willing people are to just believe another human that's given them a truly line of baloney. This case went from, "Oh, I'm Chad the Great," to serial killer. Lori and Chad are accused of being serial killers, and the worst kind. Killing your own family, children. I mean, hold on to your hat, people, because this gets worse. This gets worse. And when you're sitting here listening to this crazy nonsense and you get the sense that people really believe this to the point of actually taking innocent lives, it's just disgusting. That was a little bit of a spoiler alert because Brandon, Melanie niece, Lori's niece, who had to leave her husband too, is all part of this whole darn thing. Brandon was shot at. We will get to that. I keep saying that. We will get to that. We will get to that. I probably have enough material here to last 6 years, the rest of my life. Maybe I could retire from nursing and just keep going with this podcast. But the podcast doesn't make any money, so that probably won't work. Anyway, I'll go on, guys. Thanks for listening. I have to add my sarcasm and my 2 cents. I just have to, because there's so much, I have to say something. As a nurse, we cope with tragedy, with really bad things going on. You go to work and you work for 12 hours and bad things happen. Sadness happens. Families are devastated. So you have to have that little bit of lightheartedness, a little bit of twist on things, a little bit of humor. It's our way to cope with horrific things. I don't know, maybe if you've never been in the situation of dealing with death and dying and sadness and tragedy and sickness and literally every moment when you go to work, you may not understand that, but I bring that part of me into this podcast because there's so much tragedy involved. If I just focused on the murders and how devastating it was, which I am focusing because that is where this is. That's where this is all about. That's what this is all about, bringing justice and awareness and letting people know what can happen and what did happen. But if I just sat here and cried through this whole thing, I couldn't do it. I couldn't bring this to you. I couldn't. So that's where I come from. I have no idea if that makes any sense to anybody that's not in the medical field, that isn't a nurse, but you have to have that balance of looking at these people as complete and total knuckleheads, and also having so much sadness and empathy for the victims. And I'll make fun of Chad's chins till my dying day because he deserves it. I just want to say, Zulema, honey, if you're listening to this, I don't know if you ever would hear this, but you made that so easy for Chad. You literally fed him the information for him to make up crap and tell you about this person's dark and this person's that. Asking him all those questions. Honey, you had a headache or a migraine. You were, a normal bug, a cold. There was no Satan or Lucifer or Chad or Jerry or anybody attacking you. Lord, girl, we need to pray for you because you bought into this big time and you thought Chad was your direct line to God. Remember, beware of false prophets.
Beware of false prophets, which come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ravening wolves. Ye shall know them by their fruits. Do men gather grapes of thorns, or figs of thistles? Even so, every good tree bringeth forth good fruit, but a corrupt tree bringeth forth evil fruit. A good tree cannot bring forth evil fruit, neither can a corrupt tree bring forth good fruit. Every tree that bringeth not forth good fruit is hewn down and cast into the fire. Wherefore, by their fruits ye shall know them. Not every one that saith unto me, Lord, Lord, shall enter into the kingdom of heaven, but he that doeth the will of my Father which is in heaven. Many will say to me in that day, Lord, Lord, have we not prophesied in thy name? And in thy name have cast out devils? And in thy name done many wonderful works? And then will I profess unto them, I never knew you. Depart from me,
June
ye
2nd
that
at
work
11:44
iniquity.
a.m., Zulema said to Lori, I had a thought yesterday. The reason why my son-in-law is feeling so lost and being so aggressive is because he doesn't have any disembodies talking to him and keeping him company. On the 2nd, Lori to Zulema, about 10 minutes later at 11:52 a.m., yes, exactly. Then Zulema replies back to Lori a minute later, makes sense. 2 days later, on the 4th of June, 2019, at 2:09 p.m., she says, was Raphael you? And then at 2:10 p.m., always, we were never apart, just in percentage. On the 4th at 2:10 p.m., I felt him too, just like you and your eternal companion. We, 120% of spirit, and we split it. On the 9th, Lori to Zulema, I invited my brother, who is a multi-creation. I feel like we need to teach him, and we need some male energy. Is that okay with you? Zulema replies to Lori, of course, I like him. He's funny. I agree. We need the men too. We can call on Jimmy to help us today too. Jimmy. Who's Jimmy? Could be a made-up name. Somebody else was named James, like James, Jimmy, James. I don't know. They change everybody's names and call them weird stuff, and it's hard to keep track of these wackadoodles. But you get my drift, I guess, or their drift. Lori says to Zulema, I need your address again to give it to some. Zulema, Lori sends her address on East Mineral Road in Gilbert, Arizona. 26th of June at 10:25 p.m. Zulema to Lori, I have a question for you. What are these experiences that Serena keeps having? She thought that today she finished her physical. Is she moving forward again, or is she still at the same place? On the 27th of June at 3:01 a.m., middle of the night, Lori to Zulema, hey, I have her at 33% physical. I called her yesterday to see how she was doing, but we keep playing phone tag. I don't think that could have possibly happened. Sadly, what do you think we should do to help? On the 27th at 7:52 a.m., Zulema replies to Lori, I don't know. I'm just wondering if she's being deceived. It's hard to tell. I've mentioned being humble a lot to her, but she says she's being humble. It confuses me at times. And then at 7:55 a.m., Lori replies to Zulema, yes, I know. I just know that she hasn't moved in weeks, so I'm not sure what's going on with her. I'm asking and praying how to handle it. It's been a crazy week, but I'll try to concentrate on that today. I'm wondering if they're talking, and please leave comments if you think this is right or wrong. But what I'm wondering is that Serena is kind of stuck. She's not being translated. She's like stuck in the physical because she said she hasn't moved, meaning, remember, they were all about they're becoming translated and you're getting younger 4 days every day and all that baloney. So I think they're concerned that Serena isn't being translated properly or she's stuck or something like that. That's what I'm getting out of this. On the 27th, Zulema to Lori, I see some tendencies of acting like those self-righteous people in their church. I also see how their righteousness. She said that she read the Book of Mormon very fast, and there's extra blessings from that. So I'm wondering if she's being deceived because it sounds like she's caught up in the cultural part of that church. The 27th at 8:08 a.m., Lori to Zulema, I agree. It's like she wants the fast track to heaven. We both know that it's through long suffering and that the Lord works. It's his timing. We have to accept his will. Zulema replies at 8:51 a.m. to Lori, so they're using that to get in and deceive her, kind of like when I was mad at Kara and they are able to come and attack me. They will use any weakness or tear in our spiritual or energy fields. They're giving her some very real visions, dreams, and experiences. Then Lori replies at 9:24 a.m., it's about 30 minutes later, Lori to Zulema, or she's making them up. I'm not sure. It's hard to discern because she is really convincing when you talk with her. I wonder if this is when Serena was getting close to get kicked out. Because remember, in the interview, if you saw it with Serena, she said she got booted because Lori thought she was texting Chad too much. So if Chad's phone was going off, bling, 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 with Zulema and all her questions, like, I have a headache. What do you think's happening? Is there an evil spirit after me? What do you think, Chad? I picture all these women texting Chad, I need a blessing. Or Chad, I need this advice. What do you think this is, Chad? Can you check, Chad? Did I make that earthquake, Chad? Did I cause that rainstorm? I broke my finger, Chad. What do you think happened? But if you remember in the Melanie Gibb interview, Melanie brings up that Lori was getting a little bit weird or jealous or decided that Serena and Christina and the other girls, well, she basically didn't want them around anymore because they were reaching out to Chad too much. And I'm sure Chad was just loving it because this was his whole plan. He was creating himself a little harem of women, I think. So these text messages are a little confusing, I know, but if you really listen to them, they're Zulema and Lori talking about all these weird beliefs and what's happening to them as they're becoming translated. We talked about that. Translated beings don't need to eat. They don't need to sleep. They can't get sick. They can't die. But let's listen to Serena talking about how she got kicked out because it fits in perfectly to where Lori and Zulema are thinking there's something going on with her.
So explain to us why you got kicked out.
I got kicked out because I asked too many questions.
What kind of questions were you asking?
A lot. I'm a seeker. I love to research and dive deep into different things. And so I was asking questions about things that just didn't make sense. So that whole zombie thing, I know casting out is a thing. That's in the Bible. The whole zombie in a circle thing, I wasn't exactly comfortable with it, but I kind of put it on the shelf because I could see how she maybe connected different parts of the Bible as far as casting out and other parts. So I kind of put it on the shelf, but I did ask some questions. I know I asked a lot of questions when she started getting into who's light, who's dark, what their probation is, like when she was assigning different levels to people. And I know she was getting a lot of that information from Chad as well. And so I started asking both of them questions when things didn't make sense to me and it didn't feel right. Like that's when I ask questions because I want to know. They didn't like that. They didn't like the fact that I was asking, like, well, what about so-and-so? Like, because they were telling me numbers from my own family. Like, this doesn't make sense. Like, I don't understand this. They didn't like that. And I know another subject was when she was talking about, like, there's no need for repentance. That's just plain wrong. Like, and I'm not like, and so I pushed back on that one. That was another one.
Why did she say that?
She said she found it in the Bible.
So was she?
And she said, we don't need to repent anymore. We've come to that stage where.
When she says we, was she talking about like her and Chad or all you guys?
She was trying to get us all to believe that.
Okay. But at that time, she believed that she did not need to repent. Did she just think she was, what's the word I'm trying to think of?
Translated?
Yeah.
Yep. But above the law too. She thought I was translated as well, or in process, I should say. She didn't think I was translated, but in process.
So in your report, that we were just looking over it. She didn't want to repent, and that's kind of when they pushed you away. And she said,
well, that's part of it. She also thought, so I had some dreams. I dream, and sometimes those dreams are very vivid and they're predictive too. And it's occasionally, it's not all the time, but I have dreams. And I had shared one of those dreams with Chad, and it actually was happening at that time in a different format, and then has come true in multiple ways since then. And so they said at that time too that I got really sick. And I'm not usually sick ever, like very, very rarely. And she said, she and Chad said that I had been like, I'm trying to remember the word, not infected, but that I had been breached, that there was a hole in me, that Julie Rowe was attacking me, and I was being indoctrinated at night, and I was no longer trustworthy, and that I was not worthy, or whatever word they used. They didn't say this directly to me. I just knew, like you could tell when somebody flips and changes, but she did tell me that I had been over the phone, that I had been breached and indoctrinated at night. They were doing ritualistic abuse at me while I was sleeping.
Do you think they ever did any castings on you?
Yeah, they must have. That's my guess.
Yeah.
So that was soon after March. That was either April or May that all happened. Did
Zulema ever talk to you and try and help you out, or help you through the time, or try and see something different?
I don't think so.
I guess Lori made the comment that Zulema will help you through this tough time.
She did. Yep. So Zulema and I were pretty close, and she kind of was assigned to kind of take care of me, take care of the problem, but I believe she believed Lori and Chad 100% at that time, and was handling me, but wasn't trying to ask or find anything other than what they were saying.
Okay.
So, because our relationship didn't last much longer than that.
How often did you talk to Chad?
Like over the phone?
Or in person?
I saw him twice, ever. So, and you could say that's 3 times, but so 2 trips, the Preparing the People conference here, and then I went to the Preparing the People conference up in Idaho as well.
Was that in Boise?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And part of that trip, for me, that's why I count it as one trip, but you can count it as 2 times because I saw him at that conference and then I went over to Rexford. We were investigating places to move. I knew I needed to move, that we were supposed to move. And I was trying to figure out where in Rexford was a place that my husband loved and he found a house. So we were checking out Rexford. And so I did meet Chad once there as well. So 3 times in person.
Ever talked to him on the phone or text?
Yes. Texted. We emailed a few times. Texted. We might have texted. I'm sure we probably did a couple times, but not often. I'm trying to remember if I talked to him on the phone. If I did, it was very few times.
Anything important on those texts that, what was it about? Just
the text? I'm not sure I ever texted him.
Okay.
So I guess I can't check. But I can check on that if you want me to. I'm not sure I ever texted him, but I could have. I remember the emails and I remember the in-person stuff. I might have talked to him on the phone once or twice. And there might be some texts, but I don't remember any of them.
And since Lori pushed you out in March, have you had any contact with her or Chad?
Twice after. So after I moved, because I had seen her twice before, remember, November and March, and then she kicked me out. But I ended up moving here, much to my chagrin. I did not want to move here because she was here, but this was the right place. We were supposed to be here. Like, no doubt at all. 100% we're supposed to be here. But it was really hard to move here because she and everybody, like Zulema, who I had been really close to, weren't talking to me. And I wasn't part of that group anymore. But once I moved here, Zulema, I think it was Zulema, set up a welcome lunch or whatever at, not Cafe Rio, what's the other one? Costa Vida.
Costa Vida.
Mm-hmm. So we were there and had lunch. It was really bizarre.
Who was all there at that?
Lori and her brother, Zulema, Melanie, Boudreaux, and Nicole. And basically it was Nicole and I sat and talked, and everybody else was kind of to their side. But
was that the first time you ever met Alex?
Bizarre. No, I met him at Preparing the People the first time in Gilbert.
Okay.
So he came, he didn't stay at the house, but he came at least once. I remember him being there once.
Did you ever talk to him?
Not really, besides a conversation. He was in the kitchen. I remember him in the kitchen.
And just to jump in here for a second, Charles was giving more names than just Ned, Nick, Schneider. Hiplos was also one of the names that they gave Charles. And I think they went over that with Melanie Gibb. First it was Nick or Ned, Schneider, and then it was Hiplos, So they changed the names depending on what evil spirit has taken over this person. And I'm explaining the best I can because I don't get it, but that's what I've gotten out of it so far. Zulema to Lori at 10:18 a.m., still on the 27th of June. Do you think there's a way to change Hiplos to the lights? We're going into July of 2019, and there's some messages that were in there right before Charles died. And I'm going to come back to those in a minute. But when Adam was trying to help Charles. So on the 5th of July at 11:35 p.m., Zulema to Lori, it is time for signs of the coming of the Lord. On the 6th at 8:48 p.m., Lori to Zulema, D&C, the sealing power. On the 8th, Lori to Zulema at 1:22 p.m. Ask if we can call up a California earthquake tomorrow. Hiplos will be heading there tomorrow in Valencia. Sadly, he is still okay, but we are going to continue to work on him. The elements will obey eventually. On the 8th at 6:19 p.m., we're talking July 8th at 6:19 p.m., Zulema to Lori, I had to get home so I could go in my portal out there. I asked, if we do that, the ramifications of the things to come, we are not ready for it this time. From what I understand is that when Hiplos goes, things are going to be a domino effect, one after another. What we need to do Be ready for all that is coming. On the 9th at 2:04 p.m., Lori to Zulema, I feel we are ready. Just doing the things we are asked daily as our powers increase and our vibration increases. Remember, I've talked about Adam. Adam is Lori's other brother. Alex is the one that would do anything for her. Adam is the one that Charles was communicating with about how weird everything was getting with Lori. So there's some conversation between Adam and Charles that I'm inserting here. On the 9th of July at 9:08 a.m., Adam to Charles, I can fly tomorrow and come home on Saturday or Sunday. Charles back to Adam a minute later. You want me to see what I can do on Southwest? I just landed in LA. Adam replies, sure. Charles to Adam, how are you getting everyone together without Lori knowing? So I don't know where that came from. I actually need to probably dig and see if there's more of that somewhere. But just know that is the same day that we're on with Lori and Zulema. Lori and Zulema are talking on the 9th as well. And Charles was planning to get Adam to Arizona to do this sort of intervention with Lori because he thinks she's lost her marbles. On the 9th at 2:04 p.m., Lori to Zulema, I feel we are ready. Just doing the things we are asked daily as our powers increase and our vibration increases. At 4:39 p.m. on July 9th, Zulema to Lori. Okay, then it was my fear that things will roll out way fast from now on. And the 9th at 4:49 p.m., Lori to Zulema. No, that's true, but it's also good. On the 10th of July, Zulema messages Lori and says, are you okay? And then Lori replies to Zulema, yeah, just got a lot going on. How about you? So this is the 10th, and Lori's telling Zulema that she has a lot going on. Now, if you think back on some of the other documentation and stuff that we've gone over the last couple of years, the day before Charles was killed, Melanie Gibb was staying with Lori. And there's some documentation that says that Lori was mad that Charles was not killed in this car accident. So she told Melanie Gibb she needed to leave her house. So this would have been on the 10th. So Melanie Gibb leaves her house, and the next day, Charles was killed. So what I'm seeing happening here, and you guys can leave comments, is that she's telling Zulema she's busy because now she's trying to figure out this plan with her brother Alex to ambush Charles the next morning. Because remember, Alex and his, oh yeah, just coming to visit my sister. We were going to go do something fun today. And he was mad. And, we'll play a little clip of that.
And what is the emergency?
I shot my brother-in-law.
Okay, what part of his body is injured?
In the chest.
I'm sorry, where?
In the chest.
Okay, is he awake and responsive or unconscious?
Unconscious.
Okay, is he breathing?
I can't tell.
Okay, are you willing to go over to him and check?
Sure.
Okay, do you just let me know if you see his chest?
No weapons?
How old is he?
All right, come on out this way.
He's 60s.
I'm going to have you have a seat right here on the curb.
Who else is in the house? No one else is in the house.
Gonna go do something fun today?
Right during that time, at 8:28 a.m. on July 11th, Zulema texts Lori, I'm on my way to the temple. At 8:54 a.m., Zulema to Lori, I will be in the celestial room. On the 11th at 11:28 p.m., Zulema to Lori, must be a different phone because she says, are you using this phone now? On the 11th at 11:31 p.m., Zulema to Lori, as I was working on Hiplos today in the temple, I was told he will be taken as he is. I don't know what that means. Then I was shown to only put light and the brightest light from the top and the bottom at the same time, meeting in the middle. So I've been doing that all day. 7-Eleven. I hope today is a good day for this all to end. What does she know? It looks like Lori had replied on a different phone, and we don't see that text. On the 12th at 6:14 p.m., Oh, and I forgot to ask you if you could please take a look at who Jenny Blank is. Is she from our group? Stacy Blank asked to teach her something and earth, but this girl is gifted. She talks to plants. She hears the earth. So I'm thinking she may be connected to us. July 13th at 6:04 p.m., Zulema to Lori. How are you today? At 7:04 p.m., Lori replies to Zulema, I'm a little better. Sorry, I was so wiped out last night. Still feeling like that again. On the 13th at 7:13 p.m., Zulema to Lori, I bet you were fine. That's a lot of emotional stuff in a short time. Chad confirmed for me today that I will be doing work in South America. I'm even more excited to go now, more than ever. On the 13th at 7:15 p.m., Lori to Zulema, you are amazing. I'm so glad you get the chance to go there and get this party started. Okay, 2 days after her husband was killed, this is the conversation. Still on the 13th of July at 7:56 p.m., Zulema to Lori, LOL, I love it. Get this party started. It will be soon. I will miss you, you amazing goddess, you. Oh, here we go. It's like goddess stuff again. Then skip ahead 2 days is the next message I have. On the 15th of July, Zulema to Lori, I need some prayers, girl. We're delayed 5 hours. We missed our flight to Chile. We have to wait until tomorrow night for the next flight. Staying the night in Dallas. Send me some blessings, please. On the 15th at 10:49 p.m., Lori to Zulema, I'm in Houston. All my flights got messed up today, too. They don't want me here, and they don't want you to start things in South America. I will send angels and cast out the dark ones. So remember, when Charles died, Lori was doing these, like, not contacting people and then contacting, and then she had to go to Houston to clean out the house in Houston, and his sons wanted the watches and all that kind of stuff. So this is all going on. For whatever reason, Zulema took off to Chile. I think that's where she's from. And Lori is going to Houston. And they're all having flight delays because, that's all just like evil spirits all after you. It really isn't about the fact that the airline industry is just that way. Always has been, always will be. I was a flight attendant in the 80s. Nothing's changed. Late flights actually canceled, late, delayed, weather, So, but they make everything about them. I'll continue. On the 15th at 10:50 p.m., Zulema to Lori, I kept feeling that all day. 5 hours, really? And then you too? Crazy. So I'm going to wrap that up for episode 10, Unveiling the Idaho Cult, season 1, episode 10, Zulema. Zulema is big in this case. The trial should be really interesting. So let's get caught up. Stick around. Share my podcast. If you want me to keep going, please get this podcast out there. Get me some more views. Get me some more ratings. Get me some more comments. I do appreciate everyone that is here, that listens to the podcast. Thank you so much. Please be safe, stay well, and I will be back next week. Theme music by Dan Lebowitz. Thank you to my favorite sources, Nate Eaton of East Idaho News and Justin Lum, Fox 10 Phoenix. I use WeVideo for all of my editing, and it comes with amazing stock video. I have no connection to them, but just in case anybody wanted to know, WeVideo is amazing. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.